Let's look at this game. It's a Carokann Defence. I was white against National Master Odu Martin at the National Friends of Chess 2025. E4. This is the advanced variation of the Carokann, where white plays E5. Now, I used to play knight C3 with the ideas of G4 and then knight Ge2, preparing to bring my knight to F4. But I found out these lines, I didn't like the resulting positions because my king is exposed with this G pawn, and when the attack fails, black tends to have a good game. So I didn't like this at all. So I was looking for something new to play, and so I went with knight F3. This is a solid line to play, keeping your king side pawns intact, preparing a quick development, and then you can launch your attack. So e6, bishop comes out, c5, expanding, attacking the deep pawn, castles, then knight c6. Now here, I think c3 is a better move. This was recommended by the computer, but I like c4. I just like to blow open the center, and I like to go play aggressive chess. But then the problem with c4 is that black can play, not that, black can play d takes c, and here um, it's very easy for black to have an equal game. Look, for example, after pawn takes, there could be this and then this, and the position is fairly equal with a slight advantage to white. I mean, with a slight advantage to black, not white. I mean, look at it. Black has three pieces already out. It's going to bring out the knight with castle. White doesn't seem to have anything um, concrete here. Well, I'm seeing knight c3 to b5 to d6. Okay, so this wasn't played in the game. Black played d takes c, which didn't give him a good game. Now, I now captured the d pawn. If black captures this pawn, gaining a pawn, then this could happen. And after pawn takes, white is better. There's this check here, bishop check, and then rook comes to the e file. It's just going to be so clumsy for black to defend. His king is stuck in the center with behind in development. White is going to be ready to launch an attack. So that's why. And then look at the double pawn on the double pawns on the f file. So because of that, black played knight f2 e7, knight g2 e7, sorry. So we continue our game. We exchange the bishop, knight takes, we now take the pawn. Now I was expecting queen takes, because after queen takes, black has a good game basically, even though it's two knights against two bishops, the isolated pawn. But I guess my opponent didn't want to exchange queens, so he played this, which was inaccurate. And now bishop attacks knight, develops, knight develops, queen d7. I guess he's preparing to castle, and I stop that with bishop g5. Attack the pawn, I go back. I want to maintain that diagonal to prevent the king from castling. And then a6, rook e7, bishop out, and then queen h5, g6. Now, in this position, the best move for black was knight e6. This blocks my attack, you know, and then he's threatening to play the d5 pawn. I know my rook is pinned, or the knight rather is pinned, because the rook, if the knight moves, the bishop captured the rook. So knight e6 was a good move. And of course, there would be e6 ideas, g6 ideas later, you know. I mean, I don't know why he didn't play that move. So they played g6, attacking my queen, and I move attacking his queen, with the idea that if knight takes, then I'll simply take. It takes, check, either this move or this move, and I'll capture my piece back. I'm a pawn up with a better position. So instead of doing that, black played pawn takes queen, capture the queen, discovering on the king, and then I captured the d5 pawn. Now this was a very long combination. Took me a while to calculate all the moves in this position. So I've given up the exchange, which I will gain back by knight b6. So it captures, and I go here, check. Now I was expecting my opponent to play the king to c7, but he didn't want this with a check, and then after the rook captures, I will capture this. So this leaves me with two bishops against his two knights. That's the bishop pair, which is very strong, and a stable pawn position. So he didn't want to play that, and so because of that, my opponent now played king d6. So you notice in this position I cannot take the rook with a check. So if I captured the rook, we'll just go back with the bishop, and the knight is hanging. We'll get the knight free. So I said okay, because this was also my plan. When that happened, I came with the bishop check. Again, the king cannot go to this open file, because I'll take with check and I'll go after the rook. Pieces are equal, but I have a better pawn structure, I have the better position. So he was also avoiding that, because I now came out, and of course I didn't capture the rook. I played knight d7. Now look at the king. The king has limited squares. The king is leaving its forces to come out on its own, basically, because my pieces are all over the place, and so his best move was here. Then I captured the bishop. So what does black do here? He can't oppose my rook on this file because of this check, and I'll capture the rook, free rook. So, and this rook had to move away, because I was threatening a knight check to gain back the rook. So he played rook d8. There are just limited squares for the rook to go. This is about the only square. If it goes here, the knight will capture it. If it goes here, there's a check capturing the rook. If it goes here, there's the check, as I said, capturing the rook. If it goes here, if it goes here, the knight will just capture. And if it goes here, there's the check again, and I can capture the rook. That is if I want to gain my material immediately. So probably if he did that, I will still continue with my attack as I did during the game. So he came to d8, and then bishop e4. This is the only move for the king. And now rook here, check. He has about 3 options. There's king here, there's king here, and there's knight here. What would you do as black? So obviously he didn't play this move because this is a free piece with check, right? So he didn't want to give up the knight freely. And then this move would have led to loss of his 2 rooks. You want to know how? Let me explain. There's bishop check here. So where would he go? If he goes here, it's going into a mating net. There's rook check. If he goes here, there's check. If he goes here, bishop check, pawn push, that's checkmate. Okay, now he went, and that's not, he went here, and then bishop check, rook check, knight blocks. Now in this position, I thought for over after the knight blocks, I played check. The king now came here, and then here I thought for almost 40 minutes. I took a long time trying to figure out what to play, and then I found the move, bishop d5, and here my opponent resigned in this position. He cannot take the rook because of the knight, because of rook checkmate. So how does he defend the mating threat? And if he played knight here, preventing the rook from coming to c4, I'll have pawn push here, and if it takes with knight, I have bishop check, king goes, and then knight check is a mate, or pawn push is a mate. 2 ways to checkmate him. So now if he didn't capture the pawn, I'm trying to go back now. If after this move and this, he played the king here, then I have knight check, and then pawn push mate. So this was a very serious mating net that he had entered. So after bishop d5, his only move to prolong the game, and if he had played knight here, I have pawn push check. If the king moves, there's checkmate. But what if the knight captures here? Then I have bishop takes check, king goes here, and then checkmate. Can you see all the mating patterns that the king has fallen into by moving the king out of safety? So his only move, his best move here to prolong the game was knight, sacking that knight, and then I capture with check, he captures with check, and then I have this check, and then he goes here, and then I have this check, and then he goes here, and then I can capture this, he captures, and then I can capture the pawn, defending my my knight, and in this position black is a piece down and should lose the game. So this is one way to play the against the Carokann Defence. So if you enjoyed this game, remember to subscribe and watch out for more openings like this and more chess analysis. And if you would like me to analyze any positions for you, let me know in the comment section. Thank you.